trail and back on the mic, Wesley Hunt continues the fight. Along with his brother Rendon, they chronicle their family experience from slavery to West Point and beyond. Tackling the difficult topics facing our nation, they're on a mission to save the American dream. Buckle up and welcome aboard. You're in the hunt.
I'm Wesley Hunt.
I'm Rendon Hunt.
And you're in the hunt. You know, I'm wearing this hat because we've only lost one game. West Point's doing really well. We're having a really good season. We're definitely still in the hunt for the Commanders-in-Chiefs trophy.
I like what you did there.
And
in
I'm
the
just,
hunt.
yeah.
We're still in the hunt.
We're still in the hunt.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, West Point's playing University of Wisconsin this weekend.
We're going to win.
I think there's a good chance we win.
We're going to win.
If there was ever a chance to beat University of
We
Wisconsin.
almost beat Michigan a few years ago.
This is a chance.
This is it.
But you know what I think about with University of Wisconsin? I don't know if you've been tracking this. Ted Cruz's podcast, The Verdict, they're doing a live tour right now.
Yeah, they were at A&M yesterday.
The first stop on their live tour was University of Wisconsin. Okay. So they had set up.
Were the Beavers or the Badgers?
The Badgers.
Yeah, the Badgers.
Yeah, man.
Whatever.
That dude.
Starts with a B.
Sure. It's a critter.
Yeah.
4 legs, fur. Yeah. Beavers.
I would just never want to be the Beavers. Please continue. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Did I interrupt you?
Go ahead.
So they're playing, or Ted Cruz was setting up to have his podcast out there to film it live.
Yeah.
The university and the provost of the university decided 2 days before they were going to film that they can't have it on campus.
That's ridiculous.
Okay. And it even gets better than this.
That's ridiculous.
It even gets better than this. They've had other speakers.
Come on.
They've had other speakers on campus.
A sitting United States senator.
They've had other speakers on campus, and they make the decision that because it's Ted Cruz, that they are not going to be able to hold it on campus.
Come on now.
Come on. Then, to make it even worse, okay, like they've had series of speakers before. To make it even worse, then they say, well, there's an exemption for you having to wear the mask, because they tried to tell him and his partner in the podcast that everybody had to wear a mask during the podcast. They said the exemption for this would be if you're doing performing arts. Because if you're doing performing arts for sitting down and reading,
how many people fit in the Badger Stadium? How many people fit in the stadium?
This is where this gets. You know exactly where I'm going with this.
Go ahead. Let me stop. I got
Earlier
excited.
that week, before he came out there, they had 70,000 people in the stadium. Maskless, drinking, having a good
all on
time.
each other.
Like Dave Chappelle says with all H words.
Yeah.
Hi, how are you doing? Droplets coming from everywhere.
Just everywhere. Just spitting on everybody, yeah.
But if it's somebody that's coming in that has a perspective that you don't necessarily like, we're just muting that out.
Oh,
how crazy is that, man?
That's crazy.
And that's unfortunate because that is the time in your life where you are really having the opportunity to hear other perspectives. And you don't have to agree with all of these perspectives.
That's the point of university.
But it's important to have people come in from an academic standpoint.
I did not know all this.
Who have different perspectives.
That's so disappointing.
This stuff's just happening, man.
That's so disappointing.
This stuff's just happening. So because of that, Army's going to kick their butts this week.
Yes.
For that.
Because we don't play those games.
We don't do that.
Hey, I saw, by the way, side note, college football that I'm really getting into now because I just like the fact that these kids are living their best lives, and I love it.
Yeah.
Did you see the dude doing a keg stand with a mask on, but he cut a hole in his mask?
Yes.
So he could do the keg stand.
Yeah, and I mean,
it's great.
and you know, Fauci's been saying a lot of weird stuff lately. Fauci said it was okay. He changes his mind every day.
So speaking of that, I don't know if you were paying attention to what happened with Joe Rogan when he had Sanjay Gupta on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Sanjay Gupta was not ready for that smoke, man.
No, he wasn't.
He was not ready for that smoke. And everybody loves Joe Rogan. I had the honor of being on his podcast. He's an awesome guy, just a great interviewer in general. He wasn't playing any games.
No. And just to give the listener a little bit of perspective of what happened, Sanjay Gupta, who is also a White House fellow and is a very impressive person.
Yeah, come on.
Did he get caught with his pants down?
Let's get to
so
Sanjay.
Sanjay,
Great, Rendon. What he did was embarrassing.
Oh, it was very embarrassing. So Sanjay Gupta, who is viewed as an expert in medicine. He was on Joe Rogan's
He's the
podcast.
medical correspondent for CNN.
Yes. Yes.
Continue.
On Joe Rogan's podcast, and Joe Rogan asked him very directly, Dr. Gupta, you're in your 50s, you're in really good shape, and you're vaccinated. Do you feel like it's a bad idea, or do you feel uncomfortable being out and about? Dr. Gupta said, no, I don't. He's like, okay, then I don't understand why you have a problem with people like me who have a problem getting our children vaccinated.
Oh, man.
Because you're way more at risk than children are.
Yeah.
And when you look at, he also had a doctor who was on who basically was talking about children's cases of COVID, which is very important to us as people who have kids.
It is.
Less than 600 kids have died of COVID over the last 13 or 14 months.
Yeah.
In that same period, over 1,000 kids have died of pneumonia.
Yeah.
And if you take out those kids that have had pre-existing conditions,
that number is
they're saying it's like 20 kids.
Like 20 kids, yeah.
That have died of COVID in the United States of America. And so he basically called him out on that. He said, Dr. Gupta, like, how are you seeing this data? This doesn't make any sense. And then he also said, your network is also lying about me personally.
Well, that's the part that I was getting at.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
So that's what I was talking about when he was taking ivermectin, and CNN was talking about him taking horse pill and horse dewormer, and that's not true. Like, ivermectin is actually a drug that's gotten prescribed to billions of people to help fight viruses and whatnot. Like, it's a human drug.
Yeah.
It literally pulls up the clip of the CNN correspondent saying that Joe Rogan is taking horse pills.
Yeah.
That's a lie.
Yeah. And he called him out. He said, how do you feel about your network?
Your network that you are the medical correspondent
telling lies about me.
Lying about me. But he wouldn't let him go.
No.
Because then Sanjay Gupta put on his tapping shoes.
Yes, he did.
And let me tell you something. He ain't no Sammy Davis Jr., brother.
No.
Okay? He is not the Nicholas brothers.
No. Did you just give me a Hulk Hogan brother? He ain't no Sammy Davis Jr. brother.
Ooh, what you gonna do?
When Joe Rogan runs all over you, Sanjay, you're not getting away from this, brother.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was very good. It's very good to see, because I think Sanjay Gupta thought that he was going to get on there and be the cool guy. That's not what happened. And I love that interview because now Joe Rogan is holding the media accountable for a lot of this stuff. And Joe Rogan just wants the truth.
Yeah.
He doesn't care if it upsets one person or upsets one network or not. I just want to get down to the truth. And why are you lying to me about this?
Yes.
And why are you lying to the American public about this?
And let's be honest with people too. Like, if you as a university is not allowing alternative perspectives to be said to university
in the name of COVID,
why don't you just say that rather than say, well, we can have 70,000 screaming students, but if there's an auditorium of like 500 people to see you, we just don't feel really comfortable with that.
These games are happening every week,
That's
by the
lie.
way. Every week.
Yeah.
Every single week.
It's a flat out lie.
It's a lie.
And they're happening every week in different parts of the country. And there are people that will be flying to see those. I know you won't be flying on a Southwest flight.
No comment.
I need to tell this story.
No, you're not telling the story.
No, not the full story. I'll tell the abbreviated version. Because this happened actually. Trust me, Wesley. Why are you looking at me? Come on, man. I'm like Aladdin, man. Trust me.
Man, I don't want to have a Gruden moment. I sent a personal email to you and think,
that's coming.
See what I did?
That's coming. That's coming. Well, if you send me one personal email, they'll probably bust you on that, even if you had 650,000 other emails.
Okay.
Anyways.
And then do an investigation on every email I've ever sent in my entire life in the entire league. Go ahead.
Yes. Yeah. Good tee up there.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, we are taking a little brother's trip next week.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. And both you and I are people that
give me a high five.
yeah. We're brothers. Yeah. If you don't get it, you don't get it. So we're taking a little brother's trip, and neither of us are planners at all. Okay.
Oh, this is good.
And part of the reason why we're not planners is because there's a lot of things that are different from us, but there's one thing or a couple of things that we're very similar. One of them is we get stressed out by planning stuff. So because of that, our wives has to deal with the fact that they think that we're last minute. We're not trying to be last minute. We just get stressed out in the minutia of doing things.
Yes.
So we prefer to deal with that stress when it happens rather than dealing with the stress before. And we share that.
Yes.
Like we are kindred.
Because the stress it's actually over time.
Yes.
Instead of stressing out about it for 48 hours, you stress out about it for a week. And I'd rather just do it the last 48 hours.
I'd rather just do it for 48 minutes.
Right.
I would rather didn't have to worry about things. And so in this whole process, I had reached out to you, hey, look, I'm buying tickets right now. You didn't get back to me, so I did what you would have done to me too. Just bought a ticket, right?
Yeah, no.
It's like because we don't have to worry about this. But babe, we're not sitting together. And what boarding?
Airline, I'm flying out of
Are we gonna
Hobby.
eat together?
You're flying out of IH.
Look, we have cellular phones and we have credit cards
and Uber
exists.
And Uber.
We will figure it out.
I've been in way worse
You
situations.
can send me anywhere in the continental USA.
I've been in way worse situations.
We'll figure it out, okay? So I send you all my flight information, and you call me, and I could tell that the vein in your head was popping out. You're like, why did you get Southwest?
Yeah.
Because
I hate what Southwest has done to their pilots.
We'll get to that. The thing that was actually even more troubling for me is the hotel that I booked for us only has one king bed. And I realized
So I guess you're sleeping
that
on the
there's
floor.
no way that I'm sleeping in that king.
So I guess you're sleeping on the floor. So that means you're sleeping in the bathroom.
You were concerned about the flights. I'm concerned about the fact that they couldn't give me 2 twin beds. Because this means that I'm not winning unless you're willing to run me for it.
Hey, man, are you being serious? Are you being serious, by the way?
What?
There's only one king bed.
Yeah, there's only one king bed.
Are you being serious?
Yeah. I know. It's all they had. Why are you concerned about this?
Hey, you should. We rolling in one of those cots.
You act like this is a concern of
Maybe
you.
I'm gonna give you a pillow.
Seriously, you should be like, sweet, there's one king, more room. I don't know why you're acting.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Acting
You're
like
right.
you're concerned.
You're right. Touche.
You sound like those latte liberals talking about black people. Let me just get in my G-Wagon. I care so much about Black Lives Matter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Okay.
It's Friday. It's
It's one of those Fridays.
Yeah.
Saw a lot of latte liberals this week. I see. Huh?
Yeah.
You're kind of on edge, man.
Yeah, I'm a little on edge.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I get this flight, and you're like, oh, Southwest, and the irony of it is, I get this flight before everything just blows up in Southwest, right?
Yeah.
So I use this, of course, as a
Actually, is your flight still even on?
Who knows?
Who
man?
knows? Hey, man, come to United.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
Come on home.
Come
man.
on home. Come on home.
Come on home, dog.
So, which tees up the reason I tell that is because it tees up everything that's going on with Southwest.
Yeah.
Right. And there's a number of things that are going on. The reason I bring up Southwest is because you talked about lying to people, right?
Ooh.
Southwest is in a position where maybe some of their pilots are leaving because they don't like the vaccine mandate that you're putting upon them.
Maybe they're striking.
Maybe they're striking because they don't like that, and they realize that their union can't strike on those grounds because then they won't get their retirement, okay? So maybe they don't like what you're doing, okay?
And then what about the customer, too? They got their flight canceled.
Yeah, but instead of being honest to the customers about what's happening, they're saying it's the weather patterns.
Oh, yeah.
So there are these magical weather patterns that only affect Southwest flights.
Yeah.
They don't affect United flights.
Or American. Yeah.
God, if weather patterns could affect anything, they would affect JetBlue.
You're right.
Okay.
Or Spirit.
Okay. I mean, but now, so you're not telling people the truth about what's happening on your airline. You're shutting down
bottom line is
hundreds of
this.
flights during a holiday season,
Southwest, they have a very patriotic name.
and you're not.
If you called yourself United
You'd be all right.
or American, the weather respects those real
You'd be
patriotic
okay.
names.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
You got it, right? You're welcome.
But we're in this position in our country and in our society as a whole where we're not just willing to be straightforward and honest with people.
And this is why people have a skepticism of the media. And it's not because of Trump, and it's not because of fake news. It's because we're looking in real time, watching you lie to us. And you're not maintaining the integrity of journalism. Yeah. Because it's the journalist's responsibility to look at that story and say, I'm not going to sit here and lie about weather patterns. I'm going to dig a little bit deeper and tell the American public the truth. Actually, this is a strike.
Yes.
And Fox News shouldn't be the only one talking about it.
Yes. And the truth is so important, Wesley, because this goes back to what we were talking about with Ted Cruz and being able to give him a platform somewhere else. Regardless if you agree with or don't agree with somebody, allow them to have a platform to speak about things. Muting out voices that have different opinions, it's important. And it's happening way too much in our culture. We're not getting the truth. We're not getting the truth on COVID. We're not getting the truth on vaccines. Look at our labor markets right now.
Yeah.
Okay? Our country, our labor markets and our economy are falling apart right now.
Right.
Okay? And part of the reason that they're falling apart is because we have an administration that is not telling the truth about what's happening.
Yeah.
Okay? On one end, we say, well, you know what? If you get vaccinated, then you're good. Then let's open up the economy. If you don't get vaccinated, then you're not as worried about the ailment, so you've pretty much signaled that you're willing to continue on with the economy. And if that's the case, why does the administration just come out and say that, man?
Yeah.
Like, let's get people back to work. Our job numbers are down. People are leaving the positions that they're in.
Tell the truth.
There's a huge gap. Just tell the truth about what's going on.
Yeah.
And I'll give you another example of this. The NBA.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you saw Kyrie Irving talking about why he's not getting the vaccine.
Which is, I understand.
He told the truth.
I understand that.
This is why I'm not doing it. And we're in a position now, and there's an argument. You've heard me make this argument before, Wesley. And so it's important, I think, as we have conversations, I always leave open the right to learn more and change my opinion. Right? That's what knowledge should get you. That's what having conversations with people with differing opinions should get you. I have always been under the school of thought, from a vaccine perspective, we have had people that have been anti-vaxxers all the way through, and people who have just decided for this particular vaccine that it's not something that they want. But you know what I've realized more and more, Wesley? I've layered over this freedom factor over all of that. Okay? And this freedom factor is rooted in democracy. People can change their minds on what they do or do not want. Mm-hmm. Okay? We lived in a country that 60 years ago decided that Jim Crow was okay.
All right.
And we changed our minds collectively as a country.
Well, what I love about Kyrie Irving's comment, really, the best thing I love about it is, do you really think I want to give up a championship, a potential championship ring because of this? I mean, he has conviction about it too.
Yeah.
And that's really what I appreciate about the stance that he's taking. It's a very bold stance.
Wesley, this is like the greatest of all time, Dave Chappelle.
It's like you brought up Jim Crow, and it's like the civil rights movement, and it's like the bus boycott. Okay? It wasn't the bus boycott because people wore signs and funny hats and talked about, there was the bus boycott and we want equality. I don't want to sit in the back of the bus anymore, and just talked about it. Oh no. they walked to work. Black people walked to work. They didn't ride the buses. Do you know how much that sucks?
Yeah.
Do you know how much they had to actually give up? They had to hurt the pocket of the bus company in order for them to change. And they did change.
Yeah.
And then black people were allowed to sit wherever they wanted. Because they didn't talk about it. They didn't change their profile picture to black, and they didn't put a banner over their Instagram photo. Oh, no. They sacrificed something.
Yeah.
And what Kyrie Irving is doing right now
That's sacrifice.
is sacrifice. And that's what's going to bring about change.
Dave Chappelle on The Closer, watch it on Netflix. It's incredible. He made a comment that was fascinating. He was basically talking about women's rights and some of the things that females could have done to do better in the movement, right? And he said that there were some people who asked him, like, who are you to tell us how to do X, Y, and Z?
Yeah.
He said, I'm the guy that was on a bus with $50 million and I got off that bus and left and walked.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I didn't feel comfortable with what was happening and how the things that I was saying were being conveyed.
I left $50 million.
So I left it on the table.
Who would do that? Don't criticize him. Who would do that?
So I left it on the table.
Dude, that's what Kyrie's doing right now, man. And I look at that and I tip my hat.
And I still wonder, and I'm trying to reconcile this. And from the very beginning of the mandate talk, I'd always thought, okay, the moderate version of viewing a mandate is, okay, make somebody get tested, right?
Yeah.
Like the idea that Mark Cuban and other owners are in arms saying, no, you will get the shot and you have to get the shot.
This is unbelievable.
It's like, well,
this is unbelievable to me, by the way.
yeah. And our culture in this, and I go back, Wesley, I go back to what I was saying before about how our culture has evolved in a certain way for this specific issue. This is what democracies are about.
Yeah.
If you have a group of people and it's become cultural right now for us to see this specific moment, it's not what we're looking for in our culture moving forward, pay attention to it.
Yeah.
Because very quickly you can go down that slippery slope of giving up liberties.
Yeah. You know, when we were coming up here kind of talking about that we would discuss this, I find it very interesting to see Mark Cuban force somebody to get a shot. Force them to get a shot, but you're not going to force someone to stand during the national anthem? I mean, let's put that in perspective. Right, we've had this protocol for generations that when our colors are waved and that we're at games, you stand during the national anthem. This is just kind of a cultural protocol thing that we've done. So you're going to allow people to break protocol, basically, and you're the owner of the team, and you're going to let them express their right to do that. But then you're going to turn around and force people to get a shot.
Wesley.
That is unbelievable to me.
Wesley, it's the inconsistency of wokeness.
It's inconsistency. If you want to enforce and say everybody's going to stand during the national anthem at these basketball games, and then you said everybody's also going to get this shot, I won't agree with it, but at least you're consistent.
Yes.
But see, now you're picking your battles, and that's not leadership.
No. Hey, Wesley, it's my friends, the latte liberals, right?
Yeah.
You know, you care so much about education in the black community that you send your kids to private schools where they will never interact with black kids.
Ever. Yikes.
They're going to go straight from there to a private college.
Yeah, but you'll be the card. We got to fix
7%.
HISD. We got to fix education in our communities. But good enough for thee, but not for me and my kids. I mean, I'm not going to put any skin in that game. I'm not going to put my child in that school to help raise the standard because I'm too scared about their education. So here's what I'm going to do.
And no willingness to own it.
And you don't even want to own it.
Mighty Plessy versus Ferguson.
Even wanna.
Mighty separate but equal.
Oh my gosh.
But nobody's willing to own that, though.
Oh my gosh.
Nobody's willing to own it.
And want to blame everybody else.
Yes.
Where do your kids go? Oh, okay.
Huh. Interesting.
Fascinating.
Interesting. Which leads me to John Gruden.
So Oh, John Gruden. He got himself a little bit of trouble, didn't he?
Man, a little bit. So John Gruden has just resigned as a coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. It is very strange for me to even say Las Vegas Raiders.
I don't feel like I'll ever say that. I'll just say the Raiders.
The Raiders?
The Raiders. I'm not saying, yeah. That's
and
weird.
The reason why John Gruden was really, I mean, he resigned, was fired, whatever. I mean, he was out, period. I mean, whatever way you want to put lipstick on this, he wasn't coming back as a coach of the Raiders. It roots in an email train that he had sent out basically a decade ago. It lasted over, I believe, 4 years. So maybe 2011, 2015, right in there, where he said some things that were racially insensitive
and
homophobic. Okay. Now,
this is a football coach, by the way.
Shocking.
That says some things that were racially insensitive
and homophobic.
And homophobic.
Okay.
This is. Go ahead.
Now, this is an interesting one because we're gonna get a lot of people who have opinions on what I'm about to say about this.
Yeah. Whatever.
Okay. I see how hurt you are, but
I'm in politics.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, do
you know the things I've been called?
Yes.
Sometimes I read them out loud to myself in the mirror and pick the worst one, so I laugh the hardest at it. You know, it's like, no, that's so bad, it's funny.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So here's the interesting thing that I think about what's going on with John Gruden. We have to be very careful about the society that we are setting up right now.
Man.
Okay? If you are comfortable with us living in a society where people can take private emails that you've sent a decade ago and that prevents you from working or continuing on with your life, if you're comfortable with that,
fine.
Cool.
I hope you've never sent an insensitive text or email ever in your life if you're comfortable with that.
I'm not comfortable with that at all.
I can tell you're squirming around in your seat.
Yes.
You look uncomfortable telling the story.
I'm extremely uncomfortable with that, okay? And then the reason why these emails came up is because they were doing an investigation of the Washington football team. And there were 650,000 other emails.
This is crazy.
That have not been released.
I know.
So first of all, you know that there's, of those 650,000 emails, there's like 50 people that are like,
do you know these head coaches? You know these head coaches right now are like, oh,
there's about to be 20 firings of head coaches now.
They're like, that's all Gruden said.
and now we can use this as blackmail for people, right?
It's
we can hold this over people's heads. Well, I'm going to release what you said. And then the thing that I was thinking about, and you'd appreciate this, I don't know if you saw who the Super Bowl performers are going to be.
I did.
So it's going to be Snoop.
Yeah.
And Dre.
Yeah.
And Eminem.
Yeah.
And Kendrick Lamar.
So I know where you're going with this. Okay.
If you do, I'm going to be impressed. You know where I'm going with this.
Okay, I'm gonna give it a shot.
Okay,
I'm gonna give it a shot.
Yeah.
If you're concerned with John Gruden's emails, I'm sorry. Have you seen the cover of Doggy Style?
That's a bingo.
I'm sorry. Have you listened to any of Snoop's? Go back to Eminem's '90s rap. Do you remember Us in the Locker Room? Like, do you know what Eminem was saying about people back then? And you're gonna he was talking about putting his ex-wife in the trunk and driving her off of a bridge.
Yes.
And that was the nicest thing he said.
Yes.
And these people are going to be your halftime show, and you just fired John Gruden? For homophobic?
This is actually where I was going with this.
Do you remember when Eminem stepped in it so bad that he had to have Elton John, he had to perform with Elton John to virtually signal to everybody, I really don't like gay people?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yes.
See, by the way, that wasn't that long ago.
No, it wasn't, Wesley. And that's why, the F word, the other F word.
Which I mean, there's
yeah.
This is evolved.
In our parlance, the worst F word now.
I got you. So, things have changed so much.
Yeah. So here's the interesting
the one that now identifies as the worst F
the
word.
one that now identifies.
Self-identifies.
It self-identifies as the worst F word. So now the new worst F word. So I wouldn't have known how much of a homophobic slur that was if I didn't listen to so much Eminem.
Right. And that's the guy performing at your halftime show.
How about that?
Rendon.
So you're all woke by firing John Gruden, and all of a sudden, and it's not like, look, John Gruden at least had the decency to send these emails in private. This was albums, man.
Rendon,
this stuff went platinum.
I'm not trying to dime out Dre.
I'm not trying to dime it out either, because I still listen to all that stuff.
I do. I'm not the first to admit it, right? But
I can't reconcile that. I'll never talk about what my kids listen to.
Women's rights, okay? And Dr. Dre?
Come on, man. Come on.
Eminem talks about once you that just slapped, like he raps about Dre slapping somebody, slapping a woman.
Yeah.
Hold on, dude. Like what are we?
And once again, the other F word. If Matt Damon says it, if Matt Damon says it and then apologizes, it's okay, because for whatever reason in the woke universe, Matt Damon is okay. So he can say it and apologize like it never happened. Maybe it's because Eminem performed with Elton John. He's okay, and he's now immune to all of this. But where is the consistency here?
And Rendon, I understand a lot of the players in the locker room's opinion on this. I understand that they're offended. I get it. There were very insensitive things to say. I understand that. If you're a football player and you've been in these locker rooms for this long, are you that sensitive? Like, when did we get so sensitive?
Well, and I'll go even...
And I will, and real quick, should he have done those things, being the leader, being a head coach, being in the position that he is? He probably shouldn't have. Okay?
No. I'm not defending John Gruden
at all. What I'm saying is
I'm defending cancel culture. I'm defending
anti-cancel culture and this double standard.
Yeah.
You can't cancel Gruden and have Eminem do your halftime show.
No. Inconsistent.
You can't cancel John Gruden and have Snoop Dogg do your... You can't do that.
No.
I'm sorry.
You can't get mad about Justin Timberlake exposing Janet Jackson's breasts.
It was because Rendon. It was a costume mistake.
You can't. It was a malfunction, not a mistake.
Malfunction.
It's a malfunction.
Excuse me.
That I remember well. That I'll never forget. Never.
Remember still? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
You can't. Women's rights activists can't get mad because Justin Timberlake was demeaning Janet Jackson by doing that, and then you're quiet when they name that Snoop Dogg.
Yes.
Is going to and Dre are going to.
You remember the part though? But I have you naked by the end of this. Boom. Just saying. I watched the halftime show live.
Just saying.
I just saw it.
Oh man. But
really?
But I tell you, man. Like, there's a real bad consistency argument here that we really need to address. And even with John Gruden, I mean, even to wrap up the piece on him. Look, I think John Gruden is doing the right thing by stepping away, because as he's saying, it's a distraction. Like, now there's a decision that's been made that he's the bad guy. It's a distraction.
He's lost the locker room.
You can't get from under that. And I get that. Okay.
It's got Urban Meyer, right? Like,
yeah.
Go ahead. We'll talk about that.
Yeah,
get that
you
later.
can go on that.
Yeah.
But you really do get to the point where I understand why he's leaving and all of that. The thing that I question in all this, and don't misquote me in this, the thing that I question is, does anybody feel comfortable with somebody going back retroactively
10 years ago,
a decade ago,
different culture, different times, different sentiments,
and firing you for private emails?
Rendon, it's a dangerous road to go down.
That you've sent.
This is dangerous.
Once again, not saying it's right or wrong. I actually think he should have stepped down. I think that was in the best interest of the team.
Are you I will tell with the culture going down in that direction?
There are 650,000 other emails that will probably lead to 100 fires.
Yeah. Think about it. Yeah.
And are we really putting people in a position where I mean, it's
People
why
make
nobody's
mistakes, man.
it's why nobody's in politics now, and nobody wants to get
People
in
make
politics.
mistakes, man.
Because it's like if you're not perfect,
then you're going to get dragged.
then people just destroy
It's ridiculous.
your life. And even if you are fantastic, people will talk trash about you anyway and make stuff up.
Look at me, man.
Yeah, you are pretty fantastic.
I mean, I try my best.
Pretty
Brendan.
fantastic.
You know, I try, man.
I realized I got to tell my politics story today too.
Okay.
It's a good one.
And
So-
I got one more too.
Yeah,
I know you got to go soon. But
Yeah. So, my daughter Esther ran for student council, and I was thrilled to hear this because she didn't ask me or anything. Like, our parents forced us to do stuff like that. You were going to be in leadership. You were doing this, right?
We had no choice.
We had no choice. Okay. She's in 3rd grade, and she decided to run for student council. Didn't tell me about it really, but I knew that the speech was coming up, and because I was being a
Dude,
premier.
we grew up in a prison. We had no choices.
We had no rights.
The Hunt House was Alcatraz. You will eat this. You will do this.
I don't want that.
Eat it anyway.
But aren't you glad?
Yes, you are.
Aren't you glad we did?
We're laughing.
Man.
We're laughing all the way to the bank, man.
Aren't you glad
Hey,
we
look,
did, huh?
I'm not
Yeah.
complaining. Yeah.
But so she had this.
I needed Alcatraz.
I did too. She had this speech for student council that she was going to give. Like the premier parent that I was, on Friday, I pulled her out of school so we could go to the Astros game. The speeches were supposed to be on Friday, so she had to give it off the cuff on Thursday and wasn't as prepared for it, right? And long story short, she bombed. Just bombed. And was giving the speech and lost her train of thought and was crying, and then the teacher had to walk her around, and then she came back and was able to finish the speech. And she came home and she told me the story, right? She's like, yeah, this happened and it was really sad, but you know, I was like, and I'm listening to this and she's like, you know, have you ever felt that way? And as I was looking at her beautiful little face, I was like, nah, I crush it every time. You put a mic in front of me and put people in front of me? Nah, I'm gonna crush that.
No, that sounds like a personal problem to me.
Nah, I'm gonna crush that. That's going. This is gonna be good.
I can't shut up.
This is good. No, but so she.
In fact, if I had a mic, I'd shut.
Well, she was like, so she's like, you know, has that ever? And I told her, I said, yeah, you know, people get nervous all the time. Like you know, I get nervous sometimes when I speak in front of people. People get nervous all the time, and I'm sure you did a much better job than you thought. But this has shown you that you need to prepare. Mm-hmm. And I was really proud of her because knowing that she was terrified of doing that and speaking in front of people, she wanted to lead more than she was afraid of getting in front and trying to do it,
yeah.
which is hugely courageous.
That's called courage.
Which is hugely courageous.
That's called courage.
And awesome.
That's
and I
called
was
courage.
like, wow, this is really great.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know if I would talk to people in front of people if I didn't know I was great at it.
That's funny.
I do it because I'm good at it.
That's funny. It's like I get this question all the time. So it's like how do you prepare for the podcast? I mean, I don't know. We just sit down.
We just kind of sit down and start talking, you know. So then she says this, and we had a great talk, and I was able to tell her how proud I was for her courage and stepping up and wanting to lead, and I was just very proud of her and what she's kind of set out to do, and you really see something about her character. And then she left, and I was talking to my wife, and I said, you know what's funny about this? She's like, what? I said, she's gonna win. She's like, well, why do you say that? It's like, because we're adults, we're screwed up. Kids have empathy.
Yeah.
Kids have empathy. They're going to see that she cared about that, and they're going to see that it was important to her, and they're going to see, oh my gosh, like she really cares and wants to do this.
Adults
like,
are the ones that are jerks.
We're the ones who are screwed up.
We're the ones that are jerks.
We've pushed that out of the kids. They already have that.
Yeah.
So whether you're talking about the way that kids interact with other races and all that kind of stuff, sometimes as adults we need to step back because they have way more figured out than we figure out.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, she won.
Of course she did.
Yeah.
It's a good lesson.
And I can't wait for next time she has a speech. I will be there so she can do it as many times as she wants to in front of me. Yeah. But I'm very proud of her, and I know she'll do a great job.
Yeah, she will. She's an amazing young kid, and I love her to death. She's a sweetheart. Yeah. And I'll make this quick. because I want to end on a high note. All this Gruden talk. So it's coming back in town a couple of days ago, and get on the plane, and I always sit on an aisle seat. It's just my thing. I don't like window, don't like middle. I always get an aisle seat. So come down the aisle, sit down, and I'm sitting next to a 16-month-old little girl and her mom. And I have kids now, so that doesn't bother me at all.
Doesn't bother me.
It's
weird when it does bother people.
Yeah, it's honestly. Like, get over it. It's a kid. Like, come on, you are that way too.
Yeah.
Stop being a jerk.
You paid to sit on a vacuum tube with hundreds of other people
going hundreds of miles an hour through the sky. I guarantee you, it's okay. You don't get your nap or your reading time. Get over it. Okay, it's a couple of hours.
Yeah.
So I sit down. Then another woman comes down the aisle, looks at me, and goes, "Actually, you're sitting in my seat." And I looked at my ticket, and I was in the wrong aisle seat. I was in like D, and I was sitting in E or whatever. And I said, "Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry." And then she goes, "I could just sit here." And I was like, "Sit down.
Yeah.
I'll stay here. You sit there. It's all fine. We're all sitting in the aisle. I don't care."
Yeah.
So she sits down. The plane gets seated. Flight attendant walks up to me and goes, "Hey, sir. So the parent of this, the father of this young girl, is in a middle seat, and he's a couple of seats ahead of you, but he wants to sit with his family. Would you mind switching?"
Of course.
Duh.
Yeah. Like,
this is a no-brainer.
Yeah, of course.
For somebody like me.
of course. That's because you actually still hold the doors open for people and stuff like that too.
Of
Because that
course.
prison that you were raised in taught you manners.
Brenda, it's 2 hours to be. I'm sorry. I don't get my. I'm like, absolutely. It's far more important for the father to sit with the 16-month-old than for me to be able to put my leg out in the aisle and stretch out my knee.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I get up immediately. The woman that was sitting next to me, because I'm really in her seat, she goes, "You know what? You could have your seat back, and I'll go sit in the middle seat." I said, "Ma'am, if you don't sit down right now."
You said, "Au contraire."
Oh no. I said, "Oh no, ma'am.
Yeah.
You're going to sit here.
You're not going to blow my opportunity to be a gentleman.
Oh, you're not. What did Mom always say? You're going to rob me of my blessings."
Hey.
Yeah, oh, absolutely not.
No.
So I got up and went sat in the middle seat. I was going to say something else, but I caught myself. And I said, "Everybody chill out. It's fine. I don't mind doing this at all. Because if I were in that position, I would want somebody to do it for me."
Yes, sir.
So that's why this is no sweat off my chest, and I'll be a little bit more uncomfortable for 2.5 hours, as if I haven't crammed myself in an Apache for hundreds of hours. Okay, so let's just, it's okay. I'll get over it. I ended up sitting down in the seat, Rendon, next to a gentleman, and I won't say his name, who lives in Congressional District 38.
Get out of here.
Yes. He lives actually in a neighborhood that was formerly Congressional District 7 and is now Congressional District 38. And we got to talk for 2 hours on this plane. Awesome. And he is an awesome gentleman, awesome man, awesome family story, awesome Christian man. I admire this man more than you'll know. I'll tell you more about him later, but just an awesome guy. Figured out who I was. It's like, I saw your signs up before. Yeah. And it's really actually good to meet you. Renda and I had the best time talking to this guy for 3 hours, for 2.5 hours is basically what it amounted to. Renda would get off the plane. He goes, "How can I contribute to your campaign?" And while we're sitting there, getting off the plane, he contributed very handsomely, no mind you, to my campaign. And the moral of the story is this: just do the right thing by people.
Don't be a jerk.
And no, I'm not like telling the story because to talk about how great I am. I would like to think that's a very low minimum. That's a very low bar to treat people in this country. That's not special.
As your brother and as a fellow inmate of Hunt Penitentiary,
of Hunt Alcatraz,
there is no other way that would have played out.
No other way.
And do you know why there's no other way that would have played out?
If I didn't get up, I would have embarrassed Willie and Diane Hunt. And I'm not about embarrassing my parents.
What do you think Willie Hunt would have done the same situation? Exact same thing.
Willie Hunt would have got off the plane if need be.
Yeah, he would have.
So no, I'm not telling the story because
he has character and integrity and cares about people.
That's it.
Which is what we need.
That's all we need more in the world of. That's it. Minimum bar.
Yeah.
So take us out.
And remember, watch Dave Chappelle's new special.
It's amazing.
It's really, really good.
It's amazing.
And also watch Squid Game too, because we still haven't gotten to talk about that.
I still need to get emotionally adjusted from watching Squid Game. I'm not ready.
I'm not ready.
I'm not ready yet.
I'm not ready yet.
I'm not ready yet.
And remember, smiles are contagious, so make someone's day.
God bless you.
God bless you.